Good evening, Heidi. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Kate, and everybody that's joining live and catching the recording.
Yeah, I've read your book from cover to cover, but
Thank
then today I listened to your book, and it was a really beautiful experience because I was coming up the coastline and I was going to what could be a stressy meeting. And it was just taking me right back into that 1 minute reset continually throughout the book, just like, let it go, stay present, etc., etc. So I want to say thank you before we get
you. Oh,
started.
thank you. Thank you.
So, Heidi has written a beautiful book, The 1 Minute Reset, and I think it's probably one of those books that's absolutely appropriate to this age where we all perceive that we have very limited time. And I imagine, but you're going to tell us, that it's had a huge uptake. It should have, because it's a great little book. Really, really good. So, Heidi, at one point in the book, you say that, you thought that you probably weren't capable of writing a book, that you had doubts about your capability. Once you got going, how did it go?
I think it's like anything. Over the years, I have a lot of ambition, and I am very conscious that chase shiny objects, but I don't always finish them. But this one, I felt just it was in a way embedded in me, and it was my purpose, and it was something that I needed to do. So I think it was just really once I got those wheels in motion, it was fine, and I did intentionally block off in a way a whole year to write it. The funny story, I don't know if many people know this, but the book was actually written and called 1 Minute to Happy. That was my original version of the book, and my original keynote as well. And for some reason, I didn't publish it, even though it had got accepted by some publishers at that point, and I just sort of it's something in me was just telling me to wait, and, probably about 6 months later, I, evolved and came up with the 1 minute reset, and I was like, "Oh, this is what I meant to do." So, I scrapped everything, I rewrote the book, I added in the 10 experts as well, I formatted it in a different way, and it just felt much better and felt right, and yeah, and then the rest is history, and that's when I sort of pitched it to the publishers, and everything just the universe just let it flow from there. It just all just worked out. But it just something wasn't quite fitting or wasn't sitting right at the beginning. And I think that was myself and my guides just telling me to stop and tweak it as it's meant to be.
Mm. It's a maturation process, isn't it? Any creative process takes you through its steps, and you've
Yes.
no way of telling what that's going to be. I think all of us have had that experience of the big shiny object, gunning towards that, and then the path is not like that ever, is it? It's like,
And sometimes we are as humans so impatient to get there and we're like, yes, it's done. And then, we're like, something's not sitting right, and, you just have to sit and listen and not always know that you are right until you do get that sort of green light to keep going, I suppose.
yeah. Well, I'm glad you did get going. And what I love about your book is that it came from personal experience. There you were on a mountain somewhere in Japan. I don't know where exactly.
Yes, right at the top.
Right at the top. Oh no. And
Oh, well, the top of, in Hokkaido, so right at the top of
oh, the
Japan
top of
in
Japan.
Haran, right
Okay.
up at the top of a mountain as well.
Okay. And so you tumbled and you snapped your leg. Was it your arm?
No, snap this arm, so the right arm, I've got some nice scars there. So snap that arm in 2 places at that time, and, like, a lot of people think it was my first time snowboarding. I'd snowboarded for 30 years. I was I would say I was pretty good at it, quite confident, and it was at for those who don't know the story, it was 3 p.m. on Christmas Eve and, day 3 of our 3-week holiday, so, I did cut that holiday very short. The whole family had to fly back, had to have surgery, and it wasn't so much the actual surgery and the actual injury that, I suppose was the turning point. It was more the time of recovery when I just had to stop and be still, and I couldn't drive and couldn't, do activities and be busy and be on all of the time like I usually was, and that's when I realized that I was getting a lesson and I just had to stop, and I learnt my lessons.
But look at that, like just what you said. You realized you were getting a lesson and you learnt your lessons. Like for us at Soul Advisor, that's kind of um, one of the things that we really stand by. That illness or some mishap,
Mm,
always a lesson. There's always
yeah,
things that can be gained and learnt from that. And I think traditional complementary integrative healthcare is predicated on that, isn't it, really?
yes.
That, you do if you're moving off your path, then or if there's something to learn, then you'll become physically, mentally, spiritually, not quite right, and then
Yes.
find your way back on to that path. Yeah, so there we are. So it gave you a lot, and then you gave us a lot. Yeah, how long did it take you to write once you got going?
Um, I suppose once I had written that first version of it, over sort of like a year or so, but once I came up with that new concept, it was quite fast. It just I just put my head down and I think it was probably like 4 months to rewrite it. So I really had that sort of fire within me and that purpose, and I felt very driven at that point, but not in a stress-driven way, but just in a, it had to sort of just come out and flow, and it was easy at that point. So I think when you know you're on that right path, it does flow. We all want that flow and that beautiful deep work, and when you're in that, it didn't matter if I was doing it for, 6, 8, 10 hours a day. I wasn't really making much money and doing much else, it was just that, but, yeah,
Mm, mm.
it's really not about, the monetary, it's more about the the giving birth of it.
The giving birth and I relate to that feeling of excitement about what it's gonna bring into the world, like,
Yes.
you know, it might be 6 or 8 or 10 hours of my time every day, but, like, when it's birthed, what is it gonna bring? So
Yes,
it
yes.
seems to me like you've done a lot of interviews and you seem to have attracted a lot of attention. So maybe it's talking right at the zeitgeist of where people are at. I mean, Nut was speaking to us about the anxiety of university
Mm,
students in Cambodia, and Maria, I'm sure you experience the people that you're working with all day. That also, there's a level of anxiety that's just inherent in living in 2026 that everybody's trying to work with. And one of the things you said in that book, in your book, is that um, it's really important to make the choice to put yourself first.
mm.
Whoa, that's a big one. Like how do you put yourself first in this day and age? I don't know. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I think every Uh, my, I s and I have to remind myself this a lot, is my big point is that every day is a blank canvas, and you can choose, what you write on it. You can choose how you want that day to be. Every day is a choice of how we spend our time, and yes, you know, people work and people have responsibilities or children or aging parents or whatever's in your world, but you have a choice of how you turn up each and every day. And I think that's also really important of how you view yourself, and we can make those decisions. You think about all the greats out there, the Joe Dispensers and everybody else that, has influenced many, many millions of people around the world. And really it's about making the decision of, how you want to spend your time, but also the decision of what your thoughts, your beliefs, your habits are. So, um, yeah, I think my big thing is how powerful each morning can be and how, you do have that power, even though sometimes we just feel like we're in that hamster and, that the treadmill, but if we really stop and think every day is that gift and we have the choice to make it what we want it to be.
Yeah.
To answer your question, sorry.
Well, it does, like we do have that choice. And I think there's so many things that stop us making the correct choice,
Mm,
what's to say is correct or incorrect, but, at the moment on the planet, there's just so many, strings pulling on us, and ways and, um, interpretations of what it is to be a human that it's really quite difficult for us to just take a moment for ourselves. Like, that's a really
mm.
big it's almost like a, ugh. I'm speaking to that as a yoga teacher, right? So,
Yes, yes.
as my mother says, the pathway to hell is paved with good intentions. Lots of people
Mm,
plan to come to yoga classes. You meet people who haven't been to your class for 6 months and they're still saying that they go to yoga, like
mm.
they associate with that intention, but the actual doing of it is like, how do we click that switch for people? And so what I love is that you've brought it down to 60 seconds.
Yes,
Made it
yes.
really palatable. Yeah.
Well, I think, and I've come from, a yoga meditation, background, and I love that space, I love taking people away for a week retreat or, going into our classes, but you are a lot of the time teaching to the converted, they want to spend an hour or a week or a day in that space. But what I realized is all that learnings, from philosophy and from yoga and from mindfulness and, everything that I'd read and studied. And then during COVID, I did extra studies in counseling and mental health and, wellness coaching and more recently theta healing as well. So just combining all that, but also having that corporate clients and that really do need
Mm.
these teachings. However, that is not going to align with them when you've got a stressed, overwhelmed, burnt out, busy executive or, parent or somebody that's, filled their days, multitasking, distracted, so much going on. And you tell that person that's pushing through burnout and ignoring those signs, "Oh, just come and do an hour of mindfulness meditation," or, "Come and do this." It's gonna stress them out even more. It's something else to do on their to-do list, and the amount of times over the years where people have told me, and, you might have heard it as well, "I'm too stressed to do yoga," or, "My mind won't stop still, I can't do yoga," things like that. It's so what I realized when I was recovering from my arm is that why didn't I feel like I did when I was a little girl? When I was like 3 years old, 5 years old. And at the beginning of my keynotes, I always get people to close their eyes and take themselves to when they were a little kid, just in the moment, without distractions, without getting pulled, without those 100 tabs in their head, just in that beautiful mindfulness moment, feeling the sun on their skin or blowing out an imaginary dandelion or tracing cloud animals and just being in that beautiful moment. And I was like, I would just love to take myself to those moments throughout the day and just have that beautiful feeling of bliss and joy and calm throughout the whole time. So what I started to do is use all the techniques that I used to teach people over longer periods and brought them down to that 1 minute. And then I used to put my alarm on my phone, but not to look at my phone, to go off at the start of every hour so I could keep that beautiful high energy frequency throughout. And then I went into like, okay, well, let's see if there's research and neuroscience and backing behind that actually that 1 minute does have a big effect and it can lower your cortisol and activate the parasympathetic nervous system. And obviously it's great to do 10 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour or more. But if people don't have that, if they're in that heat of the moment, if they're about to go into a really stressful meeting, or, having a fight, their kids are having a fight in the playground, or they just need that
Yeah.
60 seconds, 30 seconds. This is something that they can do in that moment, and this is a way to bring all those beautiful modalities that I've learnt 20 or 30 years and give them to as many people as possible. And even if they only do that for the 60 seconds, that 1 minute, in the day,
Mm.
it's changed that moment, it's changed that day, and hopefully it's created new habits for them as well. And it might lead them to do it for 2 minutes or 5 minutes or longer, but even if it just cracks the egg of getting people to think in a different way.
I think, it's patently terrifying for people to let go sometimes, and,
Mm, mm.
doing 1 minute is something that anybody can handle,
Yes.
you're only
Yes.
for a minute,
Nice
whereas
and safe and easy and yeah.
we used to call it the purple door syndrome, which was just like you'd invite the world to yoga, but they were terrified of just that of letting go that far and starting to feel, you know,
Yes.
to
Yes.
actually explore what was going on was just like, "Wow, no thank you." No, thanks. No, thanks. And, so, it's like a 1-minute investment for the next 59 minutes of the hour is what you're saying
Yes.
about, and
Ye
probably really does help that, it's an investment in yourself, but it's also an investment, I think, when I look at your hashtags,
Mhm.
productivity, success at work, all that stuff is tantamount in your hashtags, and it's true because it makes you better at what you do, like, it
Yes.
does. Yeah, so I
And that's
imagine.
why for I don't know, sometimes people say, "Oh, what should I do just to get started?" If you can't do much, even just do 1 minute in the morning and 1 minute at night, the beginning of the day, the end of the day, that's your tail end, your bookmarks.
Yeah.
That'll set you up for the best way, and then it will allow you to switch off and go into a good night's sleep, and, you know, I've just gotta let my dog in because I can hear it whining, and it's just gonna sit behind me. So,
Carry on, please
there
do.
we go, lovely. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. So sorry. She's gonna
Poor
sit down on the
puppy.
floor behind me.
Hello, look at that wag.
Oh, there we go.
That's yeah, and, it's also a very bright, all your marketing is yellow and gold and sunshine, and here you are with "Here Comes the Sun," and you've got the sun behind you, and it's a really positive message that you're kind of bringing in to to the field, I guess. So
Yeah.
tell me, how has it been received out there in corporate land?
Oh, I think it's people are definitely they're wanting something that's tangible, and I think I was trying to express this to people beforehand, but I think the book, and especially published with a well-known publisher, has made it really accessible to, um, so many, and it is a little bit like you said, you know, people don't wanna come on the mat because it's then they've gotta go that next step, whereas this is like I think a safe way for people to go, "Okay, let's give it a go," and so bringing it into law firms, like I've done a 1-minute reset for lawyers, or bringing it into, um, I don't know, government agencies and things like that. It's really something that anybody can do, and it can be done from, you know, high schoolers all the way to, high level executives and parents and everybody in between. So, um, yeah, I think it's been well received. And when I am guiding people in a workshop or just like an hour together, I just get them to try usually 5 of them just so that they can experience actually what it feels like, and guide them into how you can use it in your day, create it as a habit, have it as a reminder, and, it's sort of I think that's what people like is and that's what I've tried to do by having all the different people, come along in the book as well, is that it's not just me telling it, it is actually what other people are using, and that's sort of what I wanted I suppose all the research, at the back of the book as well, is showing that it's not just somebody that you've never heard of before telling you to try it. It's actually something that can actually will work and has backing.
Yeah, it's a beautiful way that you've done that because the people that you've brought in are not necessarily famous or anything else, but they've got standing of some sort, and then they're telling how they utilize the skill and how they've adapted it. So I really
Yes,
love that you've made them the teachers.
yes,
That's what I do. Um, yeah, because then it becomes much more conversational and a lot less expert and very human, and it's
yes,
lovely. It's a really
yeah.
nice design piece there. Really good. How did you choose them, those people?
I think it was just people, all of them I had come across or, admired in some way. Sometimes most of them I had met, in person before, and I didn't really know what their reset was beforehand, but I just asked them if they'd like to be part of it, and they all said yes. So I just wanted to get a really beautiful mix of, a local politician and someone that's on big key stages and, somebody that's, run lots of different companies and startups, and just so it appeals to lots of different people that are reading the book as well. So, yeah, so
Um,
no rhyme or reason really of how I chose them, just people that inspired me. Yeah.
yeah, well, that's a good reason. Um, so 11-minute loops, that was the other thing that I'd never heard before.
Mm.
I don't know if you, Maria or Nush or Anna have heard of 11-minute loops, but I didn't realize that that was a statistic which says that we are, maybe I'm going to ask you to explain it, but it's talking about distraction.
Yes, where did I have that? I'm gonna have to try and find that.
Think it's in one of the first few pages, and it's all about the fact that every 11 minutes we get distracted. That's what all the research shows.
Yes, I
So it
know. It
keeps
used
you
to
up.
be, I think it was um, every t well, they say that if you are so we're in a what experts say is a distraction epidemic, and lots of people think they're very good at multitasking. I used to think I was very good at multitasking, and I suppose women in particular feel that they are very good at multitasking, but only 2% of people globally can actually multitask effectively and efficiently. So when we are constantly getting distracted, which is most of the time, you think of how many times we have notifications going on and how many times it's like 96 times a day we're picking up our phone, which is roughly every 10 minutes. So that in itself could be is a distraction, the ping on the laptop or somebody getting our attention. And even if we're not distracted by, um, things around us, we're getting distracted by what's in our mind. And I find it quite fascinating sometimes when you do see people watching TV, playing a game on their phone and, doing something else all at the same time. So, um, and then when we are multitasking, we're really obviously not focused on one thing at all, and we're really just task shifting. So, and then when you do task shift, just from one thing to another, it takes you about and you try and go back to one thing, it takes at least 20 minutes to really focus on that one thing. So, um, we're like little ping pong balls, like just completely going from one part of the room to another, and,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, oh, it's disturbing. And, as you have said several times in that book, busyness is seen as a badge of honor, like,
Yes. Yeah, and I used to see it as a badge of honor, and I think, as women, I think
mm,
we tend to have that more often, and I know at
mm,
school pickups when my kids were younger, it'd be like, we'd all be standing there, "How's your day going?" "Oh, I'm so busy," and everyone's, like, competing about how busy they are. "No, I'm more busy," or "I'm more stressed," and "I've got this going on," and we're all sort of trying to outdo each other of how much we're fitting into the day.
Yeah, how much we can cope with, but we're not coping. Yeah,
Exactly,
very,
exactly. So
very, very sad. So I wonder if you want to read some part of your book just to give us a bit of a flavor for those that haven't read your book yet.
sure. I've got lots of little tags, but
Oh,
I
woohoo.
yeah. I always have them a different color coded depending on what
Yeah,
I
good.
go to. So I think it's always nice to start at one of the beginning ones. I like to I'm gonna read a little bit from chapter 1, which is "You are what you are because of what you believe,"
Mm,
and then I might just do another little section as well.
thank you.
So you are what you are because of what you believe. Here's the truth: everything about who you are today, your confidence, your habits, your successes, your fears, comes down to one thing: what you believe about yourself. Your beliefs are powerful. They create the script for your life. They drive your choices, shape your relationships, and determine whether you go after your dreams or stay stuck. But here's the good news: you're not stuck. Your brain has this amazing feature called neuroplasticity. As Dr. Norman Deutsch so beautifully explains in his book, The Brain That Changes Itself, your brain is always changing and reshaping, especially when you begin new routines or reframe old patterns. You can call out that voice in your head that says, "I'm not good enough," or "I can't do this," and flip it. You can replace those old limiting thoughts with new powerful ones that actually move you forward. I'm gonna read another little section.
Hallelujah. Thank goodness for that. Yeah.
I like to read. Where is that one? I'll read a little section from here and a little section from the breath one. So, managing stress before it manages you. Stress is part of modern life, from the never ending to do list to unexpected crises. Stress has a way of creeping into every corner of our day. Left unchecked, it drains our energy, is a joy snatcher, and takes a toll on our mental and physical health. The World Health Organization and the American Psychological Association reported that stress does more than make you feel overwhelmed. It can increase your blood pressure, weaken your immune response, and affect your focus, which creates a vicious cycle that can be difficult to break. The good news is stress doesn't have to manage you. You can interrupt it. The 1 minute reset method provides simple, research backed ways to pull yourself out of a downward spiral caused by stress when you need it the most. And one more little section, is that all right?
Yes, please.
And the power of the breath. I could write a whole book about breath work, but I just have like one chapter because I love
Please do that one day, by the way.
yeah. I love doing breath work. So, the power of the breath. Life is full of moments that can leave us feeling overwhelmed, stressful deadlines, difficult conversations, or simply the relentless pace of day to day responsibilities. What if I told you that your most powerful tool for handling it is already built in? Your breath is more than just a function of survival, it's the bridge between your mind and body. Used with intention, your breath can be the fastest reset button, helping you find calm, focus, and balance, even in the most chaotic situations. Breathing is something we do without thinking, and yet it's incredibly connected to how we feel. Shallow, rapid breaths can signal stress to your brain. Deep, intentional breathing can do the opposite. It tells your body you're safe and it's okay to relax. And science backs this up. Studies published in the journal Frontiers in Psychology show that focused breathing can lower cortisol levels, reduce your heart rate, and activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for rest and recovery. That's why something as simple as pausing to breathe can shift you from stress to calm in real time. Thank you.
You. Yeah, my goodness. A breath is the absolute when are we all gonna get there? Everybody should be taught from the moment they can breathe to to how to use that breath, it's such
Yeah.
free tool. Yeah.
I know. I love it when, like, teenagers or little kids sort of realize how powerful it is. I've taught kids yoga for a really long time, and once a year, I'm part of one of the high schools here in Sydney, and I do part of their resilience program. So we take the year 9 students, um, mornings before school, and they've never done very rarely. They've done yoga and meditation, and I get, I think there's about 70 of them, and I teach them how to do breathing and meditation and a little bit of yoga. And the beginning, they're sort of like all over the place. You know what teenagers, they can't sit still and moving around. And then after like 3 or 4 weeks, you just if you've got like 60, 70, students all just with that calmness, and they're actually what they're saying, "Can we do longer meditations?" I'm like, it's so powerful, and I'm like, if you just use this one tool when you have those exams or when you have those moments when you can't sleep or you've got those thoughts, and I get them to visualize how they want their day to be, little 1 minutes, without actually teaching them the 1 minute, it's, you know, if everyone was taught this, I think who was it that, Gandhi somebody said, "If everyone was taught meditation, there'd only be peace in the world," and it's true.
I think Osho said you cannot lead a happy people to war. Like
Yes.
you can't.
No.
It's the deep disturbance within that causes all of this. Yeah.
Mm, mm.
So we've got a big job ahead of us, Heidi. Up tick. So tell me, Nush or Maria or Anna, does anybody have any questions for Heidi instead of me just rabbiting on here? Any thoughts?
Oh, oh, hello, Heidi.
Hello.
It's Anna here. I don't know if you remember me. I
I
was,
do. I just can't see your beautiful face.
it's because I'm in my pajamas. That's why. Uh,
The pajamas
but
on.
I just I came across you obviously when you were teaching yoga to the students at my school where I was principal
Yes.
a couple of years ago, and
1 year ago, I think it was.
you did, because I
Yes,
finished up. I don't know whether you know. I finished up in July last year,
yes,
and
yes,
I've now recently pivoted into a new. It's not my second career, but into leadership and life coaching, because I've coached so many people over my time, and I decided after 24 years as principal, it was time to stop and take a little bit of a reset. It took me more than a minute though.
yeah.
Um, and but it's something it was a passion of mine to do. But when I saw you on Instagram launching your book, I thought, oh, I'm so proud of Heidi, because I know the work that you did with my students,
Yes,
um, and because I'd roam around as you were teaching them yoga, and when I had a stressful, meeting or so, I'd make sure I'd go to one of those sessions with my students so I could reset and get going. But I really believe in your work. I want to wish you all the very best in this book, because Heidi, you come from a place of um, you know of of authenticity, um, and everything. I haven't read the book, but I am going to purchase it, and I'm going to use it also with some of my future clients.
amazing.
um, and who knows, maybe one day we can collaborate together with your clients and my clients. But I just wanted to be part of this
Oh,
launch with you tonight, and just to wish you all the very best. You deserve it. Good luck.
well, thank
Um,
you, thank
yeah,
you.
best wishes,
I
Heidi.
knew your name, and I was like, I think I couldn't see your face. I'm like, "I do, I know I know your name," so amazing. I loved, Kate, what at Anna's school, I used to teach the entire school in 1
Yeah,
day,
that's right.
and but I would do back-to-back classes all the way from kindy all the way to the year sixes, and throughout, I don't know, however many hours, 6 or 7 hours, I would do back-to-back classes with them all, and they were so gorgeous.
Oh, what a joy. What a wonderful thing to open the door to, Anna.
But what a skill for those young children, really and truly. It sets them up for life. If they
Yeah.
can walk away with one takeaway, and I love the way you finish off the lessons with a takeaway. Take it into your day, always with that positive intention, you know?
Mm, mm.
Um, yeah, so powerful, powerful, powerful work, Heidi.
Oh,
Uh,
thank you. Yeah, and, some of the I've been teaching at the school around the corner, St. Martin's, which is like a tiny little school. It's where my kids used to go to school. My daughter's now 19, and I started teaching kids yoga there, and even though I do all the corporate, I just can't let go of
Mm,
of teaching there,
mm,
because it's you just you know, I hope that all the kids that I've taught over the years there, they just remember one thing, or they just take
mm,
away one thing. And yeah, I've got one of the girls who comes now with her mum to my adults class, and it's just
mm.
it's great for the people that do the yoga, but it's also, if even if they just remember one thing, and as they go into high school years and uni and the workplace, I think it's so important to have those skills, because I think that, yeah, from the studies that I've done, even just with law firms, for example, uh, the younger generations are the ones that experience the stress the most. So, whenever I work with a different organization, I always like try and study or find the latest research related to that organization. So law firms, up to 70% of lawyers have experienced burnout symptoms in the last year, for example. And most of those, or the high proportion, are the ones that are under 30. So it's just, if everyone had little tools that they could just stop that stress throughout the day, especially from our younger generations going up, and I feel like that stress and anxiety, and the world's just speeding up, and people are consuming more and more in their mind, and it is harder to switch off. So I think anything we can do to help people out is our duty in a way.
Absolutely.
and I'm sure your book will inspire, and I'll tell a lot of people I know about it because I know you, Heidi.
Thank
Um, no, because I really believe in the work that you're doing, and if we can only remember, it takes 1 minute, just 1 minute
Yeah,
to reflect, and it becomes a habit.
it
And once
does.
it becomes a habit, just to remember to breathe. Remember last night I was anxious about something, and I was just doing my yoga breathing, and
Mm.
it didn't work at first, but
No.
after 3 attempts, I had to go do something else, come back and breathe, go back and then I just fell asleep. When the alarm went off this morning, I can't believe it. I want to sleep, but
Yeah,
it does work. It does work when it
it
becomes a habit. Yeah.
yeah, and like my son today, he's feeling a bit, sick, and I'm like, I'm no, I believe him, but, I think it is a little bit sometimes, man flu or boy flu, and I'm like, and it is just, what are you telling yourself in your head? It's like, is this true? Just whatever we're telling ourselves, questioning it,
Mm,
is this actually true in our mind? And is this fear, or is this anger, or is this, I always say we're usually one of four states of being: mad, sad, glad. Glad's the
mm,
one we want to be in, or fear. And
mm,
you look around how a lot of us are living at the moment, and price of petrol, cost of living,
mm,
what's
mm,
going on in the Middle East. So many people are living in that state of fear, and um, it's fear over things that we can't control, and
exactly.
we have
That's
all
right.
the things in our mind, and we
Mm,
can, if we just have those words, "Is this true?" Is this something we can control? Not really, and um, I think it's in one of the I think it was Maz Valerie in the book, one of the other ladies that I interviewed, and she always said, when you're in the midst of something, and we were saying before, Kate, about challenging moments, asking yourself, is this a life or death situation? And a lot of the time we're so stressed about something that one we can't control, but it's not really, if we looked back on it a year's time or a week's time, sometimes it wasn't, we are sweating the small stuff. Remember that book from years ago? Don't sweat the small stuff. And we are, like creating these big moments in our mind that could be diffused quite quickly.
Yeah. Back to the breath. Yeah.
The whole book on that.
Thank you. Maria or Nush, is there anything you'd like to contribute before we tally up?
I really enjoyed it, Heidi. I thought that was, I love listening to parts of it. I've downloaded it now on audiobooks, and I love an audiobook. Do you read it on audiobooks?
She does.
Well, it was when the publisher, they said, "Oh, congratulations! It's going to be, it's being picked up by the audio, sound wave, recorded it," and then they said, "Would you like to audition to be you're the reader?" And I'm like, okay. And I was like thinking, so I sat in my wardrobe, and they told me what to to record. And I thought it would be a shoo-in that everyone would be able to read their own book, but apparently you have to be chosen. So thank goodness I was chosen. And then I went in and I recorded it over 4 days. So it was quite good because it's not like it was that long ago, but it was quite a few months. And you're just in that editing stage and everything like that. So it was really good just to actually, in a way, hear it from it's even though it's my voice, but to have it in a way of like what the reader would experience. So I found it a really positive experience recording it, even though it did take a long time.
I work one with higher degree students, so but also they're training to be nurses or occupational therapists or speech, so pre-registration students really. And so I agree with the in the 16 years I've been in academia, the difference I've seen in anxiety in students is remarkable. From and I live in two worlds. One part of it is down where Kate is, on 16 acres, and we have a very connected life down there. And even people who are on holidays in that environment say hello if you go for a walk. And then I live in Docklands in the middle of Naarm.
Yes, I know Docklands. Yeah, yeah.
And I can get on the tram, change to the train, get to Hawthorne, where I work at a university there, and nobody even looks up from their phones. Nobody engages with you, acknowledges you. And so I think how we live our lives is quite interesting. And so I think your 1 minute reset is really important for the students I work with, but then also when I think about them as health practitioners. So, I often say I do wiper work with them as well, with our students. And I say to them, imagine if you were cared for by someone that took time to do wiper before they come onto their shift. It's the same, in the moment. I think the value of your work is, there are many things in healthcare. I'm a paediatric nurse and midwife, it's my clinical background. So there's lots of moments that I imagine that 1 minute reset would have really helped me, whether it be, dealing with aggression, whether it be dealing with emotional kind of challenges, whether it be dealing with making some kind of talking to people about some of the most significant things that are going to happen in their lives. I think that 1 minute reset could really be incredibly valuable. So I wonder if you've done any work in the healthcare sector.
To be honest, I hadn't previously, but I have just booked something last week, and I'm working with some private hospitals with Ramsay Healthcare, and going to be doing the keynote, but also running like 2-3 hour workshops for their leadership teams. So they're sort of like the leadership teams that will cover all of the staff in the hospital. So I think it can be really powerful in, and I do want to do more work in the health and aged care. Um, so yeah, so I'm very much looking forward to that, and I do really. I don't like to say I'm industry specific. Some people are very much, I only work
Mm.
with this. My work is for everybody, but when I do work with the industry, I do very much tailor it specifically to what's going on with them as well. So I am, as of this year, I am getting, doing a lot more work with health and aged care as well. So
And the power breath is amazing. Like Kate's done some work with medical students around breath work, and they often evaluated your sessions when I was there, Kate, as the most valuable thing that they did in the day. And so they actually really do acknowledge the value of breath work. And yeah, so but making it the 1 minute, I think the power of the 1 minute reset is how doable it is.
yeah,
I haven't read the book yet, and I'm really looking forward to reading it. I'll be excited to read and to practice it. But yeah, I think it makes it a very doable aspect that you can integrate in your life, but also in your workplace.
yes.
And we'd all be better people probably if we took the time to do our 1 minute resets.
Yeah,
And
me
it's also what I really try and encourage people to do is obviously start small,
Mm.
but also create it as a habit as well. So, instead of reaching, 90% of people reach for their phone first thing in the morning, usually before they say hello to their partner, or if they don't have a partner, their dog or their kids. And if you, even just before you reach for your phone, is noticing what your talk is, because pretty much as soon as you wake up, you start thinking about what you've got on for that day and telling yourself how bad the day is gonna be, how stressed and how tired you are, and, "Oh, what was I thinking?" You start that spiral, but just I always tell people to put a smile on their face before they even get out of bed, and think about something that brings them joy, or something they're grateful for, because then you get all those feel-good hormones pretty much straight away, and you're not gonna go into that yeah, and you might think, "Actually, I don't need to look at my social feed or check my email straight away." It just puts you in
Mm.
that mood. Or as you're cleaning your teeth, doing a little look at yourself in the mirror and, mentally say that you love yourself, or you're gonna have a great day, or, if you it's really hard to do, I think, especially as a woman, to look at yourself and tell yourself you love yourself, or you look beautiful today, and you've got big bags on your eyes. But I try and do that every morning, just put my hand on my heart and say, "I love you." And it's just, it's creating those feelings of self-worth and self-love, and, habit by habit and minute by minute, you can actually change
do you know what?
your
Just
views of everything.
coming back from where we are, how on
Yeah.
earth did we get to this point where it's that hard to look at ourselves and tell ourselves that we're lovely?
I
What
know,
a mess.
I know, but how many people do you know that do that?
Oh, no, I think everybody doesn't do that. I think they do the opposite. They tell themselves they're getting old and wrinkly and fat
Yeah.
and blah, 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 blah. Like, it's just that there's a lot of work to be done. I just am
Yeah.
thinking about that. And Maria was talking before, Heidi, about Waiapa work. Do you know what that is? No, it's the most beautiful. Ugh, Maria, I'm going to let you talk about it because you're an actual practitioner now.
I
Mhm.
am a practitioner with your encouragement, Kate.
Yeah, but it's just
No,
your.
tell me.
Kate
Yeah.
introduced me to the concept. So breath work is an earth, mind, body, and spirit.
Okay.
Um,
How do I
and
spell that?
it's WAYAPA, and work is WUURRK.
Okay.
It was a modality developed by Jamie Marlowe Thomas, and he's a gynecologist man, down here in East Gippsland,
Mm.
and where's his other lands? Kate, he's got two.
Oh,
He's got two elements to his Indigenous
cool.
being, um,
Huh.
and
Yeah, could be Gamilaroi.
and so it's Indigenous informed, but it's not just for Indigenous people. Both Indigenous and non-Indigenous people can become practitioners and can experience the practice of WAPA. So it's a body movement.
Mm.
It's a way of being
Yes.
overall, but it essentially is a body movement that is that explores through storytelling the 40 elements of Mother Earth and how we connect to Mother Earth, and brings us back to that sense of, Mother Earth is there to hold us, to love us for who we are, and give us a sense of purpose and belonging. So it's and it's quite interesting because I often, like, just recently did the practice with someone who wasn't sure what they would think about it, because my husband calls it my woo woo stuff that I do. Kate's met my husband. Um, and I quite enjoy doing. I love anything that brings a woman's circle. It's not just for women either, but I use it in a way that I share it with students.
Yes.
Free registration health students, but when I'm home, it's more to me about a woman's circle, and I love I love anything that brings a group of women together, and we can just, practice well-being together. I think is a wonderful thing.
Into it.
So it's just simple body movements and storytelling and narrating, the 14 elements of Mother Earth. And yes, I did it with a friend recently down here in Melbourne who I thought wasn't quite sure what she would think, and she was just overwhelmed by how the sense of well-being it gave her. So it's a lovely practice that gives you a smile, I would say, because it's purely about your connection to Mother Earth and thinking about reciprocity. So, a lot of our practices, our meditative practices, are what we take from Mother Earth, but WAPA brings us back to earth, mind, body, spirit. It's about also what do we give back to Mother Earth? Where's that reciprocity, and what do we give back to Mother Earth? Knowing that there's always stuff that she gives us.
Mm.
Love it. Love it.
It's magic, Heidi. It's like the First Nations equivalent of a simple asana practice too. Really brings to what's real.
And I've done it with Vacho, with the medical doctors down here, with a whole range of different practitioners, people from all different backgrounds, and it's quite amazing how a wide range of people get a sense of peace and well-being from it.
Yeah, I think people are searching and wanting, and it's. I have some beautiful people that I'm connected with. I did a lot of theta healing last year, and became an advanced practitioner in that. And we meet, in a way, it's sort of like my women's circle. We meet like usually once a month and have like a drink together or afternoon tea, and you have that permission to just go deep in those conversations, which is amazing. But also, it's, I don't know, it's sort of like the worlds I feel is very yang at the moment, and I think, we are having rising of the yin, which is, um, is like, have you watched that show? What's that show with that Netflix guy, Louis Theroux, and he's done that man something show. Anyway, it's all about men, you know, fighting against women and being quite, you know, downgrading of women, and quite a backward way of thinking. And I feel it's that they're getting, they're feeling this yin energy rising in a way, and they're not knowing how to, they're backlashing against it. That's my interpretation.
Yeah.
But it's all the same, isn't it? Mother Earth, female entity, it's what has to happen now, like it's back down to nature. By the way, Jamie is from Ma'ar land, Maar, southeastern Victoria. Yeah.
Okay.
Just letting you know. I hadn't
The
heard of
WAP
that.
is from one of his cultural, I've got it on a slide, one of his cultural, so he's got two parts, and one word comes from one and one word comes from the other, and they literally mean connection to country. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yes, Samara people, yes, and
Yeah.
then the Gunakarra people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, like we're all doing it, aren't we, in whatever way we can. And thank you
Yeah.
for sharing what you share out into the world.
Mm.
And we'll do our best to keep getting the word out there and helping people understand. So this will now be recorded and go out to on our newsletter for 6,000 people and
Amazing.
etc. So every little bit helps, and it was lovely to have the intimacy of just being here, us.
Yes, yeah. The right people turn 'em and it was interesting, like, I knew the name Anna, and
Mm.
she, she was that principal and said, "I just want you to come in every week and do it for the whole school," and to have a principal that allows that practice
Mm.
every single student, because they've got a new principal now, and they're doing it and I have done some work at that school, but it's not for every student. So I think it's for the principal to put the funding in
Yeah.
that was covered for every student. Now it's like the parents have to pay. So,
Mm.
um, yeah, I think obviously she understands the benefit.
Right. And it sounds like she's gone ahead and kept moving that in her life, which is
Yes.
great influence you've had.
Yes.
And congratulations on achieving the book too. That's a
Thank
huge
you.
achievement.
Thank you.
Mm.
It was a big year last year, so,
Mm.
Brilliant. And I just wanted to read, before we close off, just read Anna's last statement to you, which was, "Thanks for your
Yes.
energy and passion tonight, Heidi. Congratulations and best wishes with your book launch. I need to leave now. Good night, Anna. We'll be in touch."
Lovely.
And then Nut said, "Thank you, Heidi, and everyone joining this session. I have to leave now. 1 minute might be short, but so powerful. Thank you."
Yeah.
So I think we might close with that and say thank
Great.
you so much for joining us, and really appreciate you coming to Maria, and sharing the moment. And yeah, let's see what else we can do.
Lovely. Thank you for having me, and lovely to meet you, Maria, as well, and
Yeah, lovely to meet you too. I'll sign off now. Bye.
Good night,
bye.
Maria.